All right, so we talked about already that whenever I expand out all my x's, so the first one I had x to the fourth times x cubed. I expand that out and I had 4x's and 3x's, add up all my x's, and I had x to the seventh because I had 7x's there. So we did that with these three problems, and we're able to see that whenever I am multiplying like bases, we can keep the base and we can just add the exponents. We all love a good shortcut. So anytime we can make a problem a little bit shorter, that's a good thing. Okay, so we can go through and just add up all of our bases or add up all of our exponents. So if I look at this first one, I've got x to the 10th times x to the negative 4. Okay, I could expand all this out, but if I expand out x to the 10th, I would have to write out 10 x's, and that would take a long time. And then we also run into the issue of how do I write out x to the negative 4? How do I write negative 4 x's? Okay, so that's an issue that we're going to start running into. So our shortcut is always going to be just to add our exponents. So I can do 10 plus a negative 4, which will give me x to the 6th. Short, sweet, and to the point. Looking at the next one, number 2, I have x to the 1/2 times x cubed. Again, how do you write out half an x? Okay, so we're just going to add our exponents. So I'm going to have 1/2 plus 1/3. Now, remember, to add fractions, you have to have a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply everything on this side by a 3 and everything over here by a 2. And then I can simplify. So 3 times 1 gives me 3 over 3 times 2 gives me 6 plus 1 times 2 gives me 2 and 3 times 2 gives me 6. Okay, so now I have a common denominator. I just multiplied this denominator over here and the 2 over there. That's where I got those numbers from. I can add those up. 3 plus 2 is going to give me 5 over 6. Okay, so that's going to be my new exponent. So I really have x to the 5/6. All right, if you have questions about that one, make sure you're raising your hand. You're asking me questions. I'm walking around, so make sure you're asking. On number 3, we have 5c to the 7th times negative 4c to the 7th. Now, we need to add our exponents. Okay, so I have 7 plus 7 will give me c to the 14th. But what do we do with our coefficients? Well, our coefficients are just normal numbers. Since they are just straight up normal numbers, we can just treat them like normal. So we're multiplying, so we're just going to go ahead and multiply them together. 5 times a negative 4 gives me negative 20. So I have negative 20 c to the 14. All right. So that's what you should have gotten for those first 3. Now, when we're looking at this, it really kind of turns into what are we actually going to be doing with this stuff, okay? What's this leading us up to, okay? So if we flip over to the back page, maybe. How do I get to the back page? There we go. Okay, so if I look over at the back page, when we are really going to be multiplying polynomials, this is when we're going to use the product property. So we use the product property when we multiply a monomial with a polynomial. So whenever we're multiplying pieces of polynomials together, okay? So if I look at these are my polynomials, okay? They're just lots of terms. That's basically all they are, okay? There are lots of terms in a row, okay? And so we're going to use our product property when we multiply those. Now remember, when we have a number in front of a set of parentheses, we're really just distributing. Okay, we all know our distributive property. So we're going to distribute that x to the x cubed and to the 2. So x times x cubed, we're multiplying these together. So we're going to add our exponents. Remember, this little x has a 1 with it. Okay, so I'm going to add those together. I'm going to get x to the 4th. Okay, because 1 times 3 gives me 4. Now I'm going to distribute that x to the 2, and we're just going to multiply those together. 2 times x gives me plus 2x. That's all I have to do there. All right, so looking at example 2, same exact thing. We're just going to be distributing our 2x squared, and we're going to be adding those exponents. We're going to be using that product property. So coefficients we treat like normal, remember. So 2 times 3 gives me 6. And then I have to add those exponents together. So 2 plus a 1 will give me x cubed. Well, then we distribute that 2x squared to that negative 5. Well, we treat coefficients like normal. This is distributing just like we normally do. 2 times negative 5 gives me negative 10 x squared. All right. So I want you to go ahead and try example 3 on your own. Just try it out, see how it goes. So I want you to go ahead and try example number 3 on your own, and then you can check your work with mine when you're finished. All right, so I hope you try this one on your own. Okay, looking at this, we're going to distribute that negative 3x to everything inside of the parentheses. Coefficients we treat like normal. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. And then we add our exponents. So 1 plus 2 gives me x cubed. Then we distribute that negative 3x to the 4x. Negative 3 times 4 gives me minus 12. And then x to the first times x to the first, 1 plus 1 gives me x squared. All right, so hopefully that's what you got for your answer on that one. All right, we got a few more. So now we're going to be looking at pretty much the same thing, only now we have a little bit more of a visual, okay, to help us remember all of our pieces, okay? So we've got what we call our area models, okay? So what you can do is you can break up your longer polynomials, so the one with 1 and 2 terms. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and actually forget I said that. We're going to think of this a different way because I've decided I don't like that way anymore. It's crazy how that happens, right? So for these problems, we are finding the area of each rectangle, okay? We're going to find the area of each rectangle. Well, how do we find the area of a rectangle? Hopefully someone over here knows that area is just, so area is length times width, okay? So our length is the long guy, okay? So we got 3x to the 5th plus 2 times our width, which is just the 2x. Okay, now, just like with the problems up here, okay, examples 1 and 2, okay, we're going to distribute that 2x to everything. X to the 3x to the 5th and to the 2. So coefficients we treat just like normal. 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. X to the 5 plus 1 gives me x to the 6th. And then I'm going to distribute the 2. So 2x, or 2 times 2 will give me plus 4. And then I just have that one lonely x there. So the area, after I multiplied those two pieces together, was 6x to the 6 plus 4x. All right, looking at the next one. We've got 2x cubed minus 1 is our length, and x cubed is our width. So remember, area equals length times width. Okay, so we said our length was 2x cubed minus 1. And our width was x cubed. So we're going to distribute that x cubed to everything inside the parentheses. So it has a coefficient of a 1. So 1 times 2 just gives me 2. And then we add our exponents together. So 3 plus 3 gives me x to the 6th. And then I distribute that x cubed. So negative 1 times x cubed just gives me negative 1 x cubed. And that's going to be your area for that one. All right, make sure if this is not making sense that you're raising your hand, asking questions so that I can help you and help answer all those questions that you might have. Okay, so looking at example number 6, we have 6x squared for the length, or 6x squared minus 2 for the length, and negative 2x for our width. So area is just the length times width. So we're going to have 6x squared minus 2 times negative 2x. We're going to multiply these together, so we're just going to distribute. So 6 times negative 2 gives me negative 12x cubed. And negative 2 times negative 2 is going to give us plus 4x. Because remember, a negative and a negative make that a positive. All right, I want you to go ahead and try example number 7. Okay, I want you to go ahead and try that one on your own, and then you can check your work with mine when you're finished. All right, so hopefully you went through and you tried that one. We need to know that area equals length times width. So our length is 4x squared plus 2x. Oops, that's an ugly 2. And then our width was negative 3x squared. So we're going to just distribute that negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times 4 gives us negative 12. 2 plus 2 will give us x to the 4th. 2 times negative 3 gives me negative 6. And then 1 plus 2 gives me x cubed. And that's going to be your area. All right, so I hope you asked if you had any questions. Okay, if not, you can move on to your assignment for today.